today I wanted to talk to you about what it means to date with intention. You know, I'll just say it. Disney hosts most millennial women and a lot of Gen Z women as well, even Gen X. What I mean by that is we grew up with this idea that love and relationships and marriage were just supposed to happen. You see all these Disney princesses who are walking around living their best lives, and then all of a sudden, Prince Charming comes along and, he does something that makes their life better. And then the prince and the princess fall in love and they get married and they live happily ever after. And she never really had to do all of that much work to get the prince. Here's the thing in 2022, no one's coming to save you. I know that sounds negative, but to me, it's actually empowering. I like the idea of being in control of my destiny because I'm always willing to bet on me. But also, relationships, good relationships, they take work. Just like anything else that's worth having takes work. You know, people go to college so that they can get into great careers. When they start their own businesses, they put in effort. They do all of this work to, you know, get a business coach or watch all these YouTube videos or read all these books on starting a business. When people want to get in shape, they put in the work, they change their diet, they go to the gym. Why would love and dating and relationships be any different? We have no problem setting these goals for how we want our bodies to look. We have no problems with setting these goals for how much money we want to make and how we intend to make that money. But all of a sudden, if you mention that I have a goal to be married and to be happily married at that, people want to tell you straight BS. They want to be like, "Oh, just wait on God, sis. Just wait, and the right man will come along. Just, do you, and he'll find you. You know that Bible verse, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing." And to some extent, yeah. Um, I don't ever want to see a woman who's so desperate for a man that she becomes a pick me, that she's out here chasing whatever she can get. And yes, it's true that when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. There are all sorts of studies that support that when men get married, their incomes tend to go up. They tend to be more likely to get promoted at their jobs. Um, they have the type of nurturing and support that only someone in their feminine energy can provide. There are so many benefits to men for when they get married. So, yeah, to some extent, that's true. But at the same time, if you want something and you want it to be good, you want it to be healthy, you don't want to just be a product of whatever life throws at you have to put some intention behind it and some effort behind it. So, with that in mind, let's talk about 5 ways that you can date with intention and what that actually looks like. So, the first thing that you want to do is get clear on what dating actually is. At the end of the day, dating is data collection. This is why I wholeheartedly support dating more than one man at a time. For starters, dating is a numbers game. Men tend to understand this because part of their masculine energy is understanding numbers. And it's not uncommon for a man to date more than one woman at a time. So why shouldn't women do it as well? Um, Also, dating does not mean sleeping with, does not mean banging, whatever euphemism you want to insert for sex. It is not that. Again, dating is data collection. The purpose of a first date is to get enough information to know whether or not you want a second date with this person. The purpose of a second date is to get enough information to know if you want another date, and so on and so forth until you realize whether or not you want to commit to this person, and be in a serious relationship. And even then, you continue to get to know the person so that you can realize whether or not you want to turn that commitment into marriage. Um, After that, even once you're married, you still need to date your spouse because you are growing as a person. Your husband is growing as a person, and you will continue to learn new things about each other. It's one of the reasons why a lot of marriages nowadays don't last, is because people won't take the time to continue getting to know their partner. They just want the person that they married to be the exact same person they were 20 years ago, and it's not realistic. It also shows no faith and no effort, this unwillingness to get to know someone. So when you are dating, if you're dating with intention, you need to be clear on what the objective is. Your objective with whoever you date is to learn enough about this person to see if you and him are truly compatible. Not if you have the same interest, not you like the same TV shows or the same types of food. There are studies done on this. What makes a marriage last is shared values, not shared interest. So you want to make sure that you're compatible. You have the same values, you have the same beliefs about faith, about whether or not you want to have children, about social responsibility. Um, I'm a firm believer in climate change and protecting the environment. I couldn't imagine being married to someone who, they don't have to believe as deeply as I do. In fact, my husband does not believe as deeply as I do, but he does believe in like recycling and doing basic things to protect the environment. I couldn't be married to someone who didn't share that value. My husband and I are both Christian. My husband and I both want to have children. Having those shared values is so important. You want to make sure that you also have connection with this person. I've done posts and videos before about how chemistry is overrated, and it is if that's all you're relying on. But you're going to be with this person for a very long time. You do want to have some chemistry. You do want to have some connection there. You want to make sure that the two of you are able to actually merge lifestyles. Maybe there's some things about your lifestyles that are different, but if they are so incompatible that there's no way the two of you could actually live together, that's going to be a problem. So you want to get clear on what dating is. That is finding the information that you need to know whether or not this relationship that you have going can proceed. You want to get out of this mindset that is marriage or bust, that every time you meet someone, if you break up, it's a failure. It's absolutely not a failure, because every relationship brings you closer to the person who should be your partner. Every relationship teaches you what it is that you want and what you don't want in a partner. Every relationship should be helping you grow, hone your communication skills, set better boundaries, improve your standards, improve what your deal breakers are. And once you get out of this attitude, this idea of marriage or bust, then you also want to identify, as you're dating, what are your secondary goals? So knowing that it's great if you meet someone and the two of you are the right match for each other and you end up getting married, that's awesome. But should this relationship end, and should it end in a healthy way? This isn't someone who's abusive, someone who's toxic, someone who's narcissistic, any of that. It's just a matter of the two of you met, you hung out for a while, realized that you're just not compatible. Then what would you have wanted to have gained from this relationship? What I mean by that is, did you improve your communication skills? Did you get better at voicing your boundaries? Um, did you learn some things about yourself in the process of dating this man, that the two of you go places and you were like, oh, this is something I would have never tried on my own, but I'm glad I did. I discovered that I like Thai food, and I wouldn't have known that had I not dated this guy and he took me to a Thai restaurant. You want to identify what are some secondary goals that you hope you can come out of this relationship with, even if it doesn't end in marriage. So that's the number one way to be intentional about dating, is getting clear on what dating actually is and what it means to you. Number two is to be in alignment. Whenever I work with a client, one of the first things that we do is work on creating a list of what it is that she wants and doesn't want in a husband, in a partner. And this is really important because, the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Or you may have heard, especially if you're into those more spiritual communities, law of attraction communities, you may have heard, what you focus on magnifies, what you focus on expands. When we are out here creating the type of life that we want, the life that serves us, that makes us feel loved and cherished and supported and safe, it's important to focus on the things that you do want, not the things that you don't want. Um, when I was creating my own list, I would never put things on that list like, um, I don't want a man who smokes. Um, because I feel like whenever I would talk about something like that, men kept approaching me who are smokers, because I was thinking about smoking. So instead, I focused on, I want a man who is committed to a healthy lifestyle. Um, I want a man who treats his body well. That encompasses not smoking. But also, when you are creating this list of what it is that you want in a man, it's important that you are in alignment with it. So when you talk about the things that you want, are you those things yourself? If you want a man who is patient, are you patient? I see so many podcasts, websites, TikTok accounts nowadays talking about hypergamy, this whole idea of leveling up in dating. And I have nothing against the concept of hypergamy. Um, I think that all of us should want better lives than what we grew up with as children. I think all of us who want to have children ourselves, or who already have children ourselves, should want better lives for our kids or our future kids than we had for ourselves. That should be the goal of every generation, is to find a way to improve the next generation, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. But, I'm in some of these Facebook groups just to kind of see what the chatter is, and how people talk about it. And it amazes me always, the number of women who talk about they want a man who is rich and who's good with money and who can spoil them and take care of them and all that. And these women have, not all of them, but there are some women who say that, and they have absolutely nothing going for themselves. Um, they don't have any type of career prospects. They're not doing anything to improve those prospects, like going to college or doing some type of apprenticeship program, joining the military, doing a trade school, anything that would help them earn their own money. Um, they're basically lying around hoping to mooch off men. And that is my problem. If you say that you want a man who is financially stable, you yourself should be financially stable. That doesn't mean you have to make as much money as him, but you should know how to manage the money that you have and not be desperate for someone to always provide for you. Even if you do meet someone who takes care of you, I have said it before, I'll say it again. God bless the girl who has her own. It is so important that you are in a position to be able to take care of yourself, because you never know when you might need to. But also, a man who manages his money well is not going to want to marry a woman who blows it because he works hard for his money. So he's not going to want somebody who's going to come in and shred every bit of legacy that he's trying to build. Beyond money, if you want a man who's emotionally intelligent, are you yourself emotionally intelligent? Have you worked with a therapist or a coach before? Do you have mentors in your life? If you say that you want a man who is fun, what are you doing? If you go on a date with this man who is fun loving and loves to have a good time and has great stories to tell, and he asks you about yourself, are you going to have anything to say in response? Or is your response going to be like, I don't know, let's sit around and watch TV all the time? Because he's not going to be interested in that. And then you wonder why you have a hard time calling that in. So, again, you want to be clear on what dating is, and you want to be in alignment with the men that you're trying to date. The third thing that you need to do if you're dating with intention is you need to do in alignment. So, not just be in alignment, but do in alignment. What I mean by that is if you say that you are serious about finding a husband, about getting married, about having that committed relationship, you actually have to leave your house. It's not just enough to say, I want to be in a happy and healthy relationship. Back to Disney, Prince Charming is not going to break into your house. He's not going to break into your house, sweep you off your feet, and take you to some castle where you live happily ever after. And honestly, it's 2022, and I, for one, am a Southern girl. I'm from the Southern US. So if Prince Charming did break into your house, there might be a chance that, well, there's a good chance that you would call 911. There might be a chance that you would shoot him, because I know plenty of Southern girls carry. So that being the case, if you say that you are serious about having a healthy relationship, you need to be taking actions towards having healthy relationships. If you grew up in an environment where you were not surrounded by healthy relationships, if there are a lot of generational curses in that area, you come from a family with a lot of domestic violence or divorced or single mothers, deadbeat fathers, that types of thing. You need to be doing the work on healing from that. You need to be doing the work on healing yourself. That might mean therapy. That might mean finding a coach. That might mean listening to podcasts like this one, reading books. But whatever work you need to do to heal yourself, you need to do that. You need to change your mindset and your environment. Surround yourself with people who are in healthy relationships. If you can't surround yourself in real life, surround yourself online. Listen to podcasts again with women who are in healthy, happy marriages. Follow those women on social media. Um, Watch YouTube videos that that feature women who are in happy relationships. Make those your online best friends in your head and get used to thinking about that as a normal thing. Normalize healthy relationships. If you say that you are serious about being in a happy and healthy relationship, again, you need to get out of your house. You need to date online. You need to go places in real life where you can meet men who are in alignment with your values. Faith is really important to you, then are you spending time at your church, at your mosque, at your synagogue, whatever your faith may be? You know, the pandemic is loosening at the time of this recording. I'm recording it in March of 2022. So at this moment, cases are going down, more things are opening up. You really don't have the excuse not to get out there and meet people. And even if you are still concerned about your health, because I get it as someone who has a chronic health condition myself, um, I don't go out a whole lot even now. That's what online dating is for. You have no excuse not to somehow expand your prospects. So, again, if you are dating with intention, you need to get clear on what dating is. You need to be in alignment. You need to do in alignment. And number 4 is taking the time to debrief. So, whenever you are out here meeting men, whether that is online conversations or texting, talking on the phone, having a video chat with someone before an in-person date, and then most especially after in-person dates, you need to make sure that there's time in your schedule for you to really think on what you just experienced, the conversation that you had. It doesn't have to be all day. 5, 10 minutes is fine. But you want to make sure that you are constantly checking in with yourself. How did this person make me feel when I talked to him? Did I feel safe? Um, did I feel comfortable with him? Is this someone I can be open with? Is this someone that I can be vulnerable with? Um, did I see any red flags? Was there something that he said that caught me off guard? Were there any yellow flags that I would like to explore further? Um, we went to a restaurant. He wasn't as nice to the servers as I thought he could be. I don't know about you, but I find that to be a major red flag when someone doesn't treat servers well. But maybe it was a yellow flag. Maybe he wasn't outright rude. He was just a little hurried. Um, in which case that maybe you want to go to another restaurant and see if maybe it was just he's in a bad mood that day, if his treatment improves. But you want to be able to take that time, because what will happen is if you don't really set aside that time, you will overlook certain things. You will only see the best things about this person, and you will get to a place where, because you keep overlooking red flags, those small red flags will eventually become giant red glaring red flags if you don't allow yourself to really see them from the beginning. And by the time they become giant red and glaring, you're often already in a relationship, which means you're just setting yourself up for more heartbreak than you needed to go through. Whereas if you had followed these signs at the beginning, you wouldn't have had to deal with that. And that brings me to my last point. So, again, we're talking about 5 ways to date with intention. Number one was get clear on what dating is. Number two was to be in alignment. Number three was to do in alignment. Number four was to debrief after your encounters with this man. And number five is don't be afraid to cut your losses. I see this with my clients all the time. They will come to me and they will say, "Hey Keisha, I just went on this date, and he's really great. He's cool, he's nice and all, but he did." And then they will say something that is a giant red flag. They will say something that is glaringly not what they wanted. When they came to me and we worked on that list of what they wanted in a relationship, they will list some quality about this man that is most definitely not what they wanted. And they'll say, "Well, I know I said I wanted this and that he's the complete opposite of what I said I wanted. Or I know I said that I wouldn't put up with a man who does this, and he most definitely does this. But, he's nice otherwise. Should I give him another chance?" And, I firmly believe that people deserve second chances. But as I said on a previous episode, there's a difference when you set a boundary and a person doesn't follow it the first time. They misunderstood you, they misheard you, maybe they didn't hear you at all. The second time, okay, that's a mistake. But the third time is a pattern. This person does not care. This person is going to do what they want to do, whether it violates your boundaries or not. And they don't care how you feel. In fact, because you were willing to ignore it the first time and the second time, and now you're hitting a third time, they feel like it must not be that important to you, that this is something that you're willing to settle for and something that you're willing to overlook. It is hard out in these dating streets. I'm not going to deny that. At the same time, don't ever allow yourself to get to a point where you want so badly to get out of the dating streets, that you want so badly to be in a relationship and to be settled down that you settle. The faster you cut your losses, the faster you make space for God to send the right man into your life. The faster you cut your losses, the more you start showing people how you truly expect to be treated. And people will treat you better. The ones who don't treat you better, that's the sign to like let them out of your life. But the people in your life who stay, they will see that you are serious about being treated well. They will see that you are serious about taking care of yourself. Also, they will eventually appreciate that you are that way because as you take care of yourself, as you set boundaries, as you allow yourself to be loved the way that you need to be loved, you are a much better woman, a much better person for all the other people in your life. I have never let go of something that God told me to let go of and then been off worse for it. There have definitely been times that I've let go of things, I've let go of situations, I've let go of jobs. And yes, I've let go of men. And it was rough. It sucked. It sucked so hard. And there are definitely people, both men and friends, that I cried over and that it was really hard to let go of. But being on the other side of those situations, I know 100% that I made the right decision. And those are decisions, I've made mistakes, but those weren't. Those are decisions that I would never trade for the in the entire world. If I could go back in time when I think about some of the people who I had to let go of in my life, the only thing I wish I would have done is I wish I would have done it sooner. So being willing to cut your losses and knowing, having that confidence that better is ahead is one of the best things that you can do for yourself.